her father, Lappy's Paddy and Lappy's Andre, and Claude de Moise. That was 5, and a daddy and a granny and married. And
Gan Grail alone dark, like. I've been black since I was 10 years.
Aye. That Hussey was the Hussey for...
Ed Bailey's Wall was writing to the Laird on behalf of my great-great-grandfather when he was writing pleading poverty when it was new built.
Fun house that Hussey built?
No, well, no, it would have been it's a second generation house, you see. So it would have been after 1800.
The child look.
It's with Patrick Swansea. Around between 1830 and 35. Most likely 1831 or 32.
And this is the oldest house down in Charleston, do is it?
Yes, this is the same blood as Swansea. The same bond, a Patrick as Swansea. It was Patrick's youngest son, Swansea. I'll head again, John. Come.
He was only 16 when his father was drowned just at the Fetter village. Now, he had taken on the responsibility of the family union. His mother was away at the country with a creel, walking for miles to farmhouses, selling the fish. When she came back, her mum was there, so after that, welcome, she came back. My father never married till I was 30. Until he saw his sister Ra. And mind you, in these days, they worked hard. And my father's sisters, at Edith was in, her granny, was my father's sister. And when they married, the lowest thing had £40, no fancy out in our days. Buying fish, curing him sometimes hard fish, or going up a country with a creel, selling him, young women, they married. And that's what they made what they're doing. Or get out and was a servant to somebody it was married in his bairns and was needing help with the bathing and shealing that. So they were a 30 wielding family, get me? The whole family. Now, my father didn't marry something like that. My father told me on his deathbed, my father was clear. He was clear-headed. He dies hearing, my mother had never, my father had. Right up to nearly 85. And he told me And he was converted at 20 years old. His father, he was 16 years when his father was drowned. So he'd maybe seen the reality in our life and the shortness of life, even as the longest. You can't know how short it is. It's running an hour, isn't it now? Mine is running, it's running an hour fast, you see. And that maybe if it had brought time up against it, you see what I mean now? But he was truly converted at 20 years old. And he was still going strong, travelling in back to the Congregational Kirk. Never had a hurdle, no cars, no buses, travelled in. 5 miles every day, every Sunday morning. And fit I came to a Sunday morning as a bairn was my father rising to take a fire, singing out to him. Numberless as the stars as the sands on the seashore, numberless as the sands of the sea. What a joy it will be, all the ransom host to see, numberless as the sands of the shore. Now, if my father had been hitting me and bad using my wick, that was never that. But my father was a good father. He didn't. I can't mind it, but my father had given me a wallop and outside Zerpit I get kind of times. Understand? He brought up with love. And I never said no to him. And I never told a lie to him. I would have told a lie to my sister, but I wouldn't have told a lie to my father for hurting him. Nu, can you not try and understand that wee bitty? The why it communicates to your family. See the responsibility the parent is. Okay? So, going on in life, as I'm saying, I saw that there was something that fit my father had. In him and I. He was singing Sunday morning. And he was saying to my mother, Maggie, will you manage to give me silver a day to put into the collection? And he gave it silver to us, a threepenny piece, lower than a sixpence. And again, even if you've seen a threepenny piece, did you see a threepenny piece? Well, that was silver, because the common collection would have been a penny, but that was my father's offering to the Lord, a threepenny piece. On Sunday morning, and I believe my mother gave him the last penny out of her purse a guy kind of times. And it was a penny left. That's true, I'm telling you. On my knees, that's going to happen. I'm me saying to my mother, I'm needing a jotter for the school. We didn't get for 3 books with the bower jotter in my day. For a penny for a jotter. And she says to me, men there's half a congo. Mother says to me, Libby, even the spending at the penny in Josie's, not just with the shop outside the school, you see. Me, I she couldn't see if it was. Gave it away, she didn't penny to me. See, once you put it off, she can't tell us spending the penny. That was no.
To get clothes to wrap her fingers, so we drew out the bakers in the brook, washed them, dried them and cut them into strips. We have ball twine with the cover every finger to protect them for the rough salt in the knife. So it wall and wrap it with fingers. It seemed to glutes clung to her fingers and we'd have a grip of the herren. And we took him up to got him with a fiddle. You can. In Yarmouth we just used to put our fingers into the barrels of brine or salt water, you can. And that seemed to cure, sometimes it cured the CRT, the salt. But in Yarmouth it was guy call when you get done at 6 o'clock in the morning to start, just for a start, you can. But it was a while life that we had and we got on together and friends for life. And if there was over days her to got, we had to rise at 5 o'clock and we came down, dressed and came down and walked down Admiralty Road. And we'd have our quoits and boots and on. But you never hear nobody speaking, just the arms folded and trying to keep warm. And you hear the clumps of the boots. It was just like an army of women going down Admiralty Road and down to Dean's to start working. And when we got here, of course, her was all caked together and we had to get in, tried to slacken him with a scoop. And it was awful hard, I thought, and I like to got over this herring. And when the fresh herring came in at 10 o'clock, it was just a pleasure to start gutting again after that. But I like it, Yarmouth, it was great. In fact, it was like a holiday because the landlady made our meat and cleaned up our house, their lodgings. So it was great coming home to our breakfast, dinner and supper. We had a good landlady. She belonged to Rosarty. Sheetlantini, it was her name. Our family still lives in Brough. And we had some rare times in Yarmouth. Well, in Lerwick, we used to go away in the month of May. Go over in a boat, and I was sick, and half of the women, there was some, was never sick, but I was never to know with the boat at all. And when we arrived in Lerwick, the calf was, for our beds, was seen up in barrels, fall barrels. So they had to be the lids had to be taken off, and we had to fall our calf sick, and before we got into our beds at night. And that was after being in the sea the night before, which was, it was just a sick kind of feeling for 2 or 3 days before you got over the trip across. But I like it, Lerwick. But it was hard work the time the glut was on, because you was outside and I was near cover of being your head. But it was the same, and we just worked away, and it was some great times. And awful good company, and just a way of life it we had, you see. We never started got until the month of May when we get to Lerwick, and then we'd a break between, and then we came from Lerwick to the Dunbars in the summertime for 2 or 3 weeks, then August time, and got 2 or 3 weeks work there before they stopped it. Now it was a couple of weeks before we get to Yarmouth. So we had a break between, you see, we never got another time. But it's about 9 weeks, I would say, in Yarmouth. Sometimes it was 12 weeks in Lerwick. And then that was it, till following year again. So, of course, it was called up before I got home for the Shields. And I never saw him for about 6 weeks, and then we decided to marry, so we just did a marriage. In fact, I was married in Kirk here in Inveralachy, 1939, 29th of September, and it was just held in his mother's house, stayed by, and I kind of, 2 or 3 relatives, it was available, and that was it, came. And then he was back 3 days after that.
Entirely different. if it was a four war, and they had, I would say, the boats that we had was more efficient, and the crew was a good crew, and there was a lot of herring to catch, especially first year after the war. The 1939 was another poor year. There was just an awful little herring, and the Shetland men, I was near herring at Shetland at all in 1939. But after the war, it was 6 year war, they very, very little fishing in the North Sea. The North Sea full of fish, all kind, especially herring. The first year was 30 or 40 mile, and there was so much herring that you was only fishing maybe 3 nights a week. You're supplying the markets, and still a fair amount got for fish meal. So it was a big, big difference, and the earnings was entirely different. Before the war, Hobby was poverty level, but it was entirely different. And after the war, and they carried on like that for a long time, plenty of herring, and as I said, we were a good crew. Because we had the grateful never no chefs a crew. It was a pleasure. It was really a pleasure to eat the herring fishing. In fact, there's very little was left now, but when we come together, it's the draft net. Draft net is a great system. Some of them said it was all hard work, but there's nothing better for you than hard work, I think. And it was really a good method of fishing. The grateful 62 feet. It come told that we wanted to fish a longer period, so we got a big, big at that time. She was looking at the boats you have, I know she was never a big, 75 feet. The graduate for 60 feet plus 75 feet. You could fish anywhere in the North Sea, and we got a gratitude. Now, I was looking at the calendar day and the newspaper, the 20th April. Now, that was the time that we usually started the herring fishing with boxes, and that was a great. I like it that fishing as well as anything. Very, very seldom. There's only once, all the time that we was boxing. You was going up to 220 mile, I think was the farthest we could do it. There was different times we was that distance. And it was only once with bad weather, if we come ashore without getting a pay. Plenty of herring all the way. In fact, Shetland, of course it worked with the season, there's different bits in the North Sea. And it started in April, as I say, I wore out and well, I've been 220 miles east to half south. That's with the early times. But the most of it was about the patch. And the back age, you just got doing, we got a lot of herring, was just got doing on the shallow water. And that's with only a compass and a log at that time. But we learned that it's Stavanger was putting out a signal, which we called the peps. And we could pick what position, they bother with that. Well, in this area, you only got the Stavanger, but we are a line of Sundance, you could pick up your, and different times we got a big shot. 17 peps, 17 peps, but northeastern beast. Then down onto off the shoal into this deep water between the Viking and the Patch and the reef between that and Norway.
I went to the garden at only 13, due to the fallen come rain shine on me. Harvest O'Haran, keep calling me. Harvest O'Haran from out the sea. Sailing boats come and sailing boats go. Lord, in the silver herring, no. beaches to be were shores of herring from out the sea. Harvest, oh herring, keep calling me. Harvest, oh herring, from out the sea. Sailing boats come and sailing boats go, loaded with silver herring.
When I New Year's Day to give them exercise, and it was a day of the walk in the village here,
Aye.
and the pipes, there was a whole band at that time, and they come down the village here, you see, and turn to the bottom and get up again. And they hear the pipes playing when it's fine, you like the horse,
Aye.
and their logs get for it.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. Oh, aye.
Aye, so they like music.
They like it music.
Did you feel the working better with
They
music?
did that.
Aye.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
They did that.
Aye.
You whistled their song till them, I think it would beat it.
You worked the horse yourself?
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Oh, aye. Rode the horse.
Mm-hmm.
It was 1952, or we got a tractor with a horse up that.
Aye.
1952.
Aye. Aye.
The bear died with grass sickness, so I'd finished the horse. The song just tells it on here.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
If it get on, like,
Mm-hmm.
more or less, isn't it?
I suppose so.
Oh, well, if you just read it to yourself, it just near tells you, I think it would have been going on like with the hemline in his lonely stable.
Bothy.
Aye,
Aye.
aye.
Have you ever sung that ballad yourself?
No, I don't care for it myself, you see.
No.
No.
Aye. If it was that,
And I can't, I just think it's enough a serious kind of song, you know, I
Aye.
don't care for it.
Aye. Never have, like.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Is it because of the, was it touched to there, like?
Aye.
You think it's because of that?
I just don't care for it at all, like.
Aye. Do you think there's a lot of general feeling about folk as regards to that story?
There was when it happened, you see. Aye. Aye, there was a guy all wall at that time, I think, when
Aye, if it happened.
aye.
And he was your father, was he aware of it and all, like, did he?
My paddy?
Aye, did he?
Oh, aye, he kent about that song, yeah, oh, aye.
There's just something drags you back for really folk music originated. It really began in the country. And it's a great source just to come back to where it began. Are sighing soft around a lonely stable loft, and through the skylight overhead the sunbeams wander round my bed. But something wee my heart get round, a vessel burst and blood out sprung. My days on earth will no be long, for now's my time and I'm young.
Courage.
I think when the croft Northbridge lies,
Mm-hmm.
is it get past, it bunnet and right up the Northbridge lies to Newport Sligo.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that I'm home.
Mm-hmm.
And it was apparently it was if ever you be.
And mother actually saw the...
My granny was in the same craft, you see.
Aye.
My granny and my mother took over the craft here, so my granny and grandma took a bigger place, you see.
It was your grandmother that saw the
Aye,
trap?
yes,
Aye.
uh-huh.
Can you just tell us exactly what she said?
She just saw being in home. We are what did you call them at that time?
A trap, was it you said?
Ah.
A trap?
That's right, that trap. That's right. That's what he was in home with.
Mm-hmm.
And samen tegen hem heen, you can.
Aye.
After the, I think it was, I've heard my mother speaking about it again, yes, yes. Het is samen been teen heen. So what he'd say, what?
The words of
What,
Bindley.
what's about it,
There,
that's
aye.
right. Well, my dad was born there.
It was a Bindley.
Right, I know. In a wee cottage, for the Cablace Hillock, it was a Bindley. It's what he saw later day. Right enough. I've said my master will and true, my well done work I'll never rue. That was the last verse. I've served my master well and true, my well done work I'll never rue, and what I want here best in heaven to visit, to see the fairest fields of heaven. That's and for he missed his striven that's right to reach the fairest fields of heaven. That's the last verse.
We just go to food if you grown on the farm,
Aye.
mostly,
Aye.
broad, porridge. It was very healthy. I find healthy food. It was,
Could your father be?
he was a cattleman,
For what?
Newmel.
Oh, I knew Miller
He was at Newmel, he was at the boot fair,
Aye.
Newmel, the Alto.
And how much a family had you? Was there you?
12.
12. And was you the youngest?
No, I had a brother younger than me,
Aye.
but he's dead.
Aye.
No?
No.
Is there two?
Oh, aye.
There was one in the Highland Light Infantry and the name was Big Gunner.
Oh, aye.
One big.
Aye. 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 How long was your father most his life at Wratham?
18 years.
18 years at Wratham.
Aye.
Aye.
That's only place at that mine I get a writing school all the time.
Do it, fin he get away to war and come in home and out again.
Oh well, I mind when I come home for the trenches with frozen feet. He couldn't have throw his socks or nothing on, just the bare feet. And he was off a month or two at that time. And then he got off. Newmel was I had with the work, you see, with the women being what they were, and Mr. Bernard Numel got doed off for a month. Then they applied and got him off another month. And he was quite pleased. I worked in a horse again. Aye.
Of course, he was wounded in the leg and
Aye.
wounded in the arm.
Aye, that's right.
Aye.
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 I got married and I was quite funny for
Aye.
a year or two.
Aye.
Then I bought back shoes.
Aye. How big was it, Charlie?
70 acre.
70 acre. Aye. Aye. So how long was you there?
23 years.
Is that right?
And
Aye.
then after a man's wages get over big for me to play, so the lassie, she left the school and she used to work at tractor. And the time she got married and saw herself it and took a craft at Crimmet, 14 acre.
Aye. Far did you learn to play the melodeon? You played the melodeon and the fiddle.
Aye.
Far?
I never got learned,
No.
just well, George started with melodeon.
Aye.
He used to play melodeon too.
And did your father play?
No,
No.
no, he looked at fiddle music.
Aye.
He said it's the best music he loved.
Aye. But he didn't play the fiddle.
He never played it now.
No.
Played on half and trumps.
Oh, aye. And you played the fiddle as well, did you?
I did.
Aye.
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 Oh, aye. I did be here.
Oh, aye.
I never got lessons.
No.
Bit of a head.
Aye.
Aye.
So how long did you play the melodeon and the fiddle?
Well, they just, when with his charmer, the grieve at a place, he was a single,
Mm-hmm.
and he played the melodeon, I played the fiddle with a band.
Was this quite a funny like?
No, I was in Boghead as Artie.
Oh, aye, but was you Boghead?
I was in Boghead as Artie for
Oh.
4 years, aye.
Oh, aye. Oh, aye. You ken the Boghead crew, in? The ballad, the Boghead crew?
Well, and again, I never heard it.
Never heard that, you know. So what kind of ballads did you play? What kind of music did you play?
Well, just a dance music as you go on that day.
Aye.
That was out of the way.
Aye. Oh, I didn't ken you said Boghead. How many folk was there working at Boghead at that time?
There was 3 horsemen and or a bister,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was 12 bellies and a guy.
Aye.
Aye.
Funny that been, Charlie. 50 years was that?
40 years.
Aye.
Oh, it was about John off a bad hearse. I was there 12 years, 27 and 28, it was bad harvest.
Aye.
And I was 4 years,
Aye.
that's it, 12 bad harvests.
Aye.
So some folk never go to harvest then.
Aye. 27, 28.
It was a custom in Fresborough some years ago to take an empty jar to the grocer's to get it filled with syrup. When a mother sent her boy for syrup, the grocer filled the jar. "Money, please," the boy said in the bottom of the jar.
Money was the bottom of the jar. The syrup on the top of it.
And it is when I worked on a farm, I sold the man a drake. He had some dogs and was going to breed with them. The man's home was 6 miles from mine, but a week later the drake came back. As farmyard dogs can't fly, he'd walked across busy roads, through hedges and fields. What a noisy welcome my dogs gave him. How he wasn't taken by folks, I don't know. I just had to give the man his money back. I've heard of a dog or a cat coming home from far away, never a drake.
Where was this at, Charlie?
I was a craft.
It was a craft,
Aye.
oh, aye. Fit a rangus way.
As a craft at Kidman.
Kennethman.
And I served the drake a lad doing it to the bank car.
Oh, aye.
It's about 6 miles the crow flies, but it
Aye,
came.
Jovie, could hear me. That distance. He'd maybe liked the geese, maybe, eh?
As up and down his own wife was best, but they didn't.
Somebody put down his own wife was best. Aye. Aye. Aye, he maybe thought the Deans and other firm was just a motley crew, eh?
I just thought.
Aye, okay. Yeah, that's good.
There was a concert in the Beer Pit Hill in a dance. And Mrs. Morris, she played the piano, but she had to play fiddle. And Mr. Morris, he was an old schoolmaster, and he says, come in into the house, he says, and practice, and Mrs. Morris, first course, but took off that big boots. He said, they come around in my big boots. So we practiced Buckle next and played it at Duxie. It wasn't a big band, it was only her and me playing.
Aye. And this was played at the Pete Hill School?
Aye.
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 Oh, aye. Yeah, I'd been a time you'd been working at Boghead, was it?
Aye, I was working there.
I mean, 27, 28, aye.
I was with Eddie Hendry for 12 years and Mr. Morris for 12 years.
Aye. Yeah.
Month to get my strength back, but I never got to help him. The firm up in my water to go duck and throw parks and herd the sheep and things like that. And then the day term, he says, I had to give your loan something, but money get in, locked the door and disappeared, so I don't think I got a penny for that 6 months. And then my next firm was out along near Jackson, the roadside. Well, my wage was £10 in the 6 months. I didn't get a penny till the 6 months was up.
So, you were Oreman and Cuttleman in some of the firms. Can you tell us something about
Oreman, and then maybe the term I get on maybe for Cuttleman, you see.
Aye.
And it was a hard job at that day.
Could you tell us about it?
Well, it was all there's Cassie stones about, as you can. And they were all bound up with myself on the neck again, and you maybe the buyer had held about maybe 30 to 40 cattle. You had stars at both sides, you see. I mean, the turnip shed door, it was great big wakes, and you pulled it up and it get up into the reef itself. Same idea as that garage doors, but big wooden door this was. And you'd had the turnips to slice with a hand hasher. They bought a hashers at that time.
Aye. Was that beef cattle? Would it have been?
Well, you had that thing, you had maybe a buyer of cows and calves, and then you had another buyer. There was hardly courts at that time, but now it's all cattle courts now near. And you'd rise about 5:30 in the morning, out the stable and clean your horse to 6 o'clock, and get into your breakfast at 6 at the firm that I was on. It was just brose every morning, to make your own brose. Maybe you wouldn't kind of want to make brose. It's quite simple. You just put in a 2-3 spoonfuls of oatmeal and then salt and spice and boiling water and stir, and that's your brose, mate. Then a bowl of creamy milk you got to put on the top, yeah? But say firm does that, you got porridge every night, but she took about 10 slices of loaf out of 1 loaf, and if I get away here me next to 4 my suppers, firmer's wife come in and took my slice of loaf back in case somebody would eat it.
Is that right?
Oh, they were greedy. The last firm I was at, they were toffs like just good for they got. But some of the greedy firms.
And what size of firms did you work on? Were they big firms or?
Well, the last thing I was on was out of McDuffie. It was 88.5 about 90 acres. It's just him, a boss and me. And I was there 10.5 years. Then there was a big firm up in Cornhill, had about three pair of horse at that time, trough horse at that time, you see. Had about 5 or 6 men at that time, and you'd had to sleep, and you didn't get a bed yourself. You'd sleep, and if you got out of boat, you still had to sleep aside them. And it was us dams at Chalmouth, and it was no electric light, you see, it was on the lanterns. And when you left it up by lanterns, you saw the steam rising off a blanket. Wouldn't be allowed that now, you see. Oh, it's a hard life. You got your breakfast 6 o'clock in the morning, dinner at 12, you had supper at 6, and that's what you got till next morning.
What time do you stop working at night, Dodie?
Well, I'll just give you the right hours. You started at, get out the stable at start at 5:30. And you got 2 hours at dinner time, but that wasn't for your sake, that was to give the horse a rest. Because ploughing a whole day, it was sail work again. And you started again at 1 o'clock and finished 5:30, well, but you just horse not to clean after that, and then enter supper at 6. And a weekend, some firms wouldn't let you about 5 places if you were stonekeeper to work. There's no half days instead of that, you see.